Everyone. It's 2025 and we're back into the thick of things back in January. My name's Christina. I am a genre bending literary writer and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about back to work. Or in my case, it's kind of like back to the grind. Um, they say that first Monday back in January is called Blue Monday because everybody has to go back to work. And that just happened for me. Of course, that Monday was also a really big snowstorm. So a lot of people got off work. I did not get off work though. That's kind of the problem when you work from home full time. You don't get snow days anymore, unfortunately. But it was beautiful and I enjoyed looking at it out of my window as I was working. So I was thinking a lot about getting back to work, getting back to writing, and just my regular everyday now that the holidays have passed. And for some reason, I thought about this quote, and I'm probably going to not quote it accurately, but I'm going to get the gist of it. Somebody had asked the author Joe Hill. Now, he's the guy who wrote Nosferatu, um, and I believe he's Stephen King's son. Somebody asked him, like, how do you write a good book? And he said, I don't think about writing a good book. I think you should focus on writing good scenes. And then after you have a bunch of good scenes, then you can step back and try and weave it together to be a good book. And that's the approach that I've been taking with my current novel. And I finally have a code name for it. It's called Codename Brownings because it was inspired by the letters of Elizabeth Barrett Browning and her husband, Robert Browning. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's slightly inspired. It's got some twists to it, but I think that's a good one. So when I wrote a previous book, I just kind of like went for it. And this was the book that I kind of gave up on in 2022. And it was because I was writing scenes that I felt I had no idea where they were going. And some writing friends said, you should probably think about outlining. There's this book, Save the Cat, buy that. And so I did that, and I realized that it was probably better if I do some outlining and have a roadmap to where I was going with my book. But I still enjoy the surprises and the just sort of spontaneity that comes when you're writing and you just follow the story as it goes. There used to be some writers that said I would just find a character and just follow him or her wherever they went. But I have learned that sometimes you can kind of like really go deep into the weeds with a character, and that kind of stuff is just not really good. There's no other way to say it. It's just not really good. It's meandering. You don't see where the point is. You're so focused on just following that character that you're not really giving a story. And I read this book actually a couple times right here. It's called The Forest for the Trees. And this is one of the few books that I've actually read multiple times. And that is because you can get really caught up with just looking at the trees and not stepping back and looking at the whole forest for what it is. And I'm always trying to keep that mindful. So when I started the Browning, this book, I wanted to give a sense of, I know where this is going. I have an outline. I know what the forest looks like. And then focusing on each individual tree was focusing on each scene and how that scene would service the overall story. And the spontaneity and the surprises that happen in the book happen in those scenes. And I just so happen to have written one. I'm in the middle of writing it. I should probably say that because it's not done yet. But it really took me off guard. I was really like, oh, that's much better. And because I have, sort of made space for these surprises, I think that that will service the story better and it won't feel like it's so formulaic. I don't enjoy formulaic stories. Maybe when I first started reading, because when I was like a kid, I read a lot of Nancy Drew and I read a lot of Hardy Boys, and those all kind of tend to follow a formula. Fun fact, when I first started thinking about being a writer, I thought I would be like a murder mystery writer or a detective fiction writer. I did not want to write science fiction or fantasy. I read it, like I read The Hobbit when I was a kid, and I enjoyed like Star Trek and Star Wars, but I always thought I would be more like, Raymond Chandler or Dashiell Hammett. I really enjoyed like the Nancy Drew books and stuff. But as I've gotten older and just sort of found my voice, I realized that I like mysteries. I enjoy a really good mystery, but it's not really what I want to write. And that's interesting. And that'll probably be a video one day when I'll talk about how to discover your first voice or your authentic voice as a writer, because it took me a while to get there. And I don't think there's something magical that happens. I think you just write a lot of stuff and then it shows up. That's the short version of it. So, but back to writing the scene. I have been thinking about this because it really caught me off guard when I was writing this scene. I was like, this isn't in the outline, but yet it feels natural. It feels like it's supposed to happen. And I love that. I love when those moments happen when you're writing. It's unexpected and yet it feels inevitable. There's a saying, endings are not expected, they're inevitable. And I feel like this scene that I'm writing is inevitable. So I guess I'm going to end with saying you should write your story with a sense of a roadmap, but make space to see, the sights along the way. And, we're getting back into, the grind of everyday working. And for me, at least, it can be a little hard. It can feel a little mundane. So I'm grateful for these surprises that happen in my writing. I'm grateful for the unexpectedness that shows up when you start to explore your own creativity. I've been really getting into that, like really trying to like be more creative, think differently, think in unexpected ways. And surprisingly, that's actually kind of hard. But I'll tell you this, I know what I don't want to do, and so I think that that really helps. If you decide to try something creatively and then you say, oh no, 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 I don't like that. I'm not going to go that way. That helps you kind of, steer yourself into a new direction. I bought a poetry book for the first time in like a really long time. And I think it's contagious because my mom, she just had a birthday and she asked for poetry books for her birthday. And so I got her a poetry book. My dad got her a poetry book. And I haven't read poetry in so long, like an actual poetry book. I haven't read that in so long, but I feel like that's missing right now. I feel like that is something that I should pay more attention to. And I have like some big like Norton anthologies and stuff like that that you're gathering dust. I haven't picked them up in forever. But yeah, I forgot how much I like reading poetry and how much it unlocks my creativity. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that do some stuff that's different. You never know how it's going to influence you. And I hope everybody's writing is going well. I hope your winter, if you live in the northern hemisphere, your winter is going well. Like I said, we got a bunch of snow over here in the mid-Atlantic. So winter is upon us. But yeah, I think everything's going well. If you have a tip to unlock your creativity, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to know what it is. And good luck, everyone. Happy writing. And I will see you all on the next video. Bye.